Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Red Alert Lab. This is the video number 62. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have discussed how we can update some Active Directory attributes related to the users in our network. So for example, when you create a user in the Active Directory, some fields need to be updated or need to be filled, something like the name of the user, first name, the last name, the email, the mobile phone, and one of these fields that is optional to fill, it's the manager field, who is the manager of this user, and the employee ID. Okay, so we have discussed in the previous video how we can fill the manager field and the employee ID for a bulk of users using a PowerShell script. So for example, you have 100 users in the Active Directory. You need to fill the fields of the manager and the employee ID for all of them. I have showed you all the last video how we can do this using a PowerShell script. Okay, and I have said that this video we will discuss a new topic. This topic is concerning password managers. We all know that in the previous videos we have disabled saving of passwords on the browsers. So for example, when you as a user try to access your email address through a browser, or to access your Facebook, or to access your work websites, these usernames and passwords related to all of these sites will not be saved to the browser. Okay, because the browser is very easy to be hacked and the passwords are not encrypted and they are not safe. Okay, so also as a best practice from the Department of Defense of the United States, it says that you should disable saving of passwords on any browsers in your network. So we will use a specialized software that will save our passwords for all of our websites, and it will be encrypted. Okay, and you are the only one who can decrypt these passwords. You will see that we can decrypt these passwords using a password, a long and strong password, and a complex one, and using a key, okay, or a hardware key, or something like an encryption key. So we'll use two factors, or we will use two ways to, or let's say two-factor authentication. Okay, so we'll have two ways to secure your passwords. They will work together. For example, you need to provide a password to decrypt the passwords, and you need to provide a key, an encryption key, to open the database contains your password. We will see how this will be done. We will use the software. It's an open source. It's a password manager named Keepass. This is an open source program. It's a free open source program, and it is recommended by all of the, or most of the experts. Why we use a open source? Open source, its code or its programming language, it is available for everyone. So you as an IT manager can inspect the programming code of this program. So if you are suspicious that maybe there is backdoors, or there is something, maybe an malware, or maybe a Trojan can be embedded between the program lines, or between embedded within the program, so you can see the programming language of this program and see if there is anything suspicious. Okay, and this open source program contains a lot of features, okay, that there is other programs paid provide the same features, but these features are very, very strong, and it will help you to protect your password. So this is something called Keepass. Okay, this is a program, as we said before, it's an open source password manager. Okay, it will help to secure your password in a secure way. You can store all your passwords in one database, which is locked by a master key. This is a password, so you have to remember one single master password to unlock the whole database. So we will save all your passwords to a single database, and this database will be opened by a password. And not only password, we will see that we can open it with a password in addition to a key, something like a security key, or something like fingerprint, or something. It is something like this. There is two methods, or there is two things you need to provide to open your database that contains all of your passwords. Okay, Database files are encrypted using the best and most secure encryption algorithm. It's AES, this is the most strongest one, 256, and SHA, this is also used by Google, and Twofish. Okay, so this is the program, and we will see how we can use it. It is free, it's an open source, it's OSI certified. I don't know what is OSI certified. You can have a look at the full source code and check whether the security features are implemented correctly. Okay, about the open source program. Okay, anyway, so he's saying that, as I said before, it's a full source code, and you can check the programming of this program to see if there is anything suspicious. Let's see something related to this program. Can be used with conjunction of some plugins or some extensions. These extensions will help you, for example, to back up the database that contains all of your passwords, to integrate this software with browsers, as we will see later, that you can, through the browser, provide the password for websites through the program. So the program and the browser will be linked together, so you can take the passwords from your password manager and provide it to the browser. Okay, so this is called Keepass. Let's see how we can install this program, and let's see some things I need to tell you all about it. So there is something called policy. I need to tell you some features about this program. So there is something called policy. I need to give you a look here about it. So here, this program can be installed locally, or it can be installed on a machine and then share the program on this machine to all of the machines in your domain. So Keepass can be installed on a network drive, and the policy can be enforced. Okay, so this is it. You can install it on a machine, or let's say on a server, and share the program on the server to all of the other machines. So let's see, for example, if you have a server, we will install Keepass on it, and then the program or the folder that the Keepass is installed on it will be shared to all of the other PCs in your domain, and they will use it, okay, through this folder that is shared on the server. Okay, so this is, I think I prefer this method because it is simple to update the software. So after you install the software, you need to make sure it is always updated. So this is a good thing, that you will only update one program on the server. This is much easier other than installing softwares, or install the same software locally on all of your machines in the domain, and you need to update it regularly. You need to check for updates regularly on all of these machines. This is a headache. If you have a patch manager, you can tell it to update Keepass, but this is it's a little bit expensive to have a patch manager to do this. So it's simpler to install the Keepass on a server and then share the Keepass on this server to all of your machines in the domain. Okay, so this is it. This is one of the things if you need to share the Keepass to the all of your users in the domain. And by the way, some of the things here, if you need, we need to see also some queue or some, let's see, some there is some things related to installation and portability. So this program also, when you install it using a local administrator account, he is the only one that can uninstall the software and change it. So local users or standard users will not be able to change a lot of options in this software. We will see later, we will make a test. We will see if a normal user or a standard user can change the setting of this software. Okay, so let's go and see first how we can download the software. So we will download it from, here is the downloads. We can install it an exe file. So this is an installer, which is an exe file. This is Keepass 250, the latest version, and we have a portable version. So this version you can use it directly without installing it to the machine. So you can just unzip the folder and work with the program directly. This file, you need to install it on the machine so you can use the software. We will see how we can use both. Okay, actually, because there is different objectives from using these two. So I can use this on a machine, for example, in my work. So I install it on a workstation in my domain, and at home I can use a portable version of this software and use the same passwords on my laptop. We will see. Actually, also it's not recommended to use your work passwords on your laptop, but we will see that your personal data can be used outside the network. So let's see. This is the two programs. Okay, we will download this file and we will install it, and we will download this portable version and we will use it later. And under here we can see that this program, there is a lot of versions of this program. So Keepass, you have Keepass version 250, and there is other softwares that are driven from this software. So for example, there is Keepass Droid. This is for Android system. There is Keepass for iOS, something called Strongbox. Okay, this is built on the software Keepass. Something like for example Chromium. It is an open source browser that all of the new browsers in the market is based on it. So for example, Chrome is based on Chromium, Edge is based on Chromium, Brave is based on Chromium. So Keepass Droid is based on Keepass, Keepass to Android is based on Keepass, Strongbox is based on Keepass, and we will see that there is a lot of programs based on this open source program. We will use Keepass, the source one, and we will use something called Keepass XC. Okay, this is a version of this software, or it is not a version, it is something built on Keepass. So Keepass XC, it is built on Keepass. So we'll use Keepass and Keepass XC. So we will download this software. This is the first thing to do, and then we will install it. So let's go and see how we'll do this. This is a machine, a virtual machine. We will install on it Keepass. So here we'll accept the license agreement, next, password, okay, and then we will create a shortcut on the desktop, okay, and then here is the Keepass. And then after that, when you open the software, the first thing we need to do is to create a database to save all of our passwords to it, okay, or all of our website passwords to it. So first we will launch the Keepass, okay, and then the plugin web page. This page, we can add extensions to the Keepass to make it more functional, or to add new functionality or new features to the Keepass program. We will see later how we can do this. First, we need to enable automatic update for the software. This is the first thing we need to do. So this is a normal workstation that contains Windows 10. We will install this software on it, and we can see this is the interface of the software. We need first to create a new database. We need to get a little bit further here. So let me show you all the first thing we need to do. So we will enable automatic update, and then we tell him file, and then new, okay, database. We will store Keepass database file, which is a regular file. After checking, okay, we'll be prompted to specify a location where Keepass should save this file. So it will tell you, it will create a database that will save all your passwords to it, and it is a best practice not to save it in the C drive or the program that contains the software. So the software is installed in C program files Keepass. We should not save the password to this, or save the database that will contain our passwords to this location. We should save it to another location, and it is preferable to save it to a location that you can back up. We will see later that we need to back up this database because it will contain all of our password. We need to back up this database regularly because it will contain all of our password. He is saying here you should regularly create a backup of the database file. So you can, for example, put it on a drive that your administrator in your network will back it up, or we can see that later we can put it locally on our hard disk, and then take a copy of it and put it on Google Drive or on a cloud storage, something like Google Drive or OneDrive. We will see that later. Anyway, so we'll put it on our D drive, not our C partition. We have C and D partition. I put it on my D partition. Tell him okay, and then we will save it to the D, and we will create a folder. We will name it Keepass database. Okay, Keepass database, and then we'll save this password. Its password is kdbx, so we'll save this database to this folder, and then we need to provide a master password to encrypt this database. This password should be very complex and should be difficult to guess. Okay, so we will see later that, just a moment, we will see later that the software provides some password generator program. So inside Keepass there is a password generator option, so it can provide you with complex password. We will see how we can use it later, but you should put a very complex password as a master password to encrypt your database that will contain all of the passwords of your websites and your important important web websites. So here I have created a password earlier. Okay, it is a very complex one. So this is the one. We can see it contains about, I think this is 20 characters. Okay, and it is contains special characters. So we will use this password and show you all how we can generate something like this, and we will repeat the password. Here we can see that he gives you an estimated quality. He's saying that this password is good because it is 131 bits, it is 20 characters, so here it is estimated to be a good password. Okay, and we will see later that the more that these bits will be more, the more the password is good. Okay, so we will create a master password, this is one, and we will create a key, so our database will be encrypted using a password and a key, and to decrypt it we need to use a password and a key. You will not be able to use, or you will not be able to decrypt the database unless the two is used together. Let's see the options here. Also the show expert passwords. Here we can see that there is two options. You can provide a key. Okay, this is a key. He's saying that a key can be used as a part of the master key. It does not store any database data. If an attacker has access to the key file, it does not provide any protection. Okay, he's saying if the key is lost or its content are changed, database cannot be opened anymore. You should create a backup of the key file. So we should have a backup of the key file and the database as a whole. Okay, so this is a key. It's something like a token or a security token, as most of you know. For example, there is some in some environments, when you have an active directory or domain, you access your domain using a password and using a flash drive that is a security token or something. Okay, so this is it. This is a key, but this is it can be saved to a flash, so we can save this key to a flash and use it in conjunction with the password that you have. Okay, this is one option, and the other option is Windows user account. This source uses data of the current Windows user account. The data does not change when the account password changes. So here he will link your database to your Windows account. But this is very critical. If your account is not working or disabled or deleted, you will not be able to open the database. So you can open the database using a password and a key, or an encryption key, or a security key. Okay, or you can use a password, master password with the Windows user account. But this is not preferable. I prefer to use a key, and this key we will put it on a flash, so we can have it is always with us, and we will back it up. Okay, so this is a good option to use a master password and a key, or a key file. Okay, so let's see how we can do this. We will create a key, and then we will tell him to create. We'll leave the default things. Here we need to type random numbers. Okay, and we need to click with the mouse within this field, so he will create a complex key. So this is he's saying here, just he need to do what he's doing here. He tells you move the mouse randomly in the following field to generate random bits. These bits will use to encrypt or create an encryption key, in addition to these random characters. So the random characters with the random bits will be combined to create a security key. just hack some random keys into the above box. You do not need to remember them. They are only used as a random seed for a cryptic or cryptographically strong random number generator. Okay, so this is only used to create the security key. You should not remember it. It's only used to create the key. Okay, anyway, so we will type this random keyboard or random characters, and we will click on the mouse this field to generate bytes. Okay, so as you see here, I am moving the mouse. Okay, so here I am just moving it more and more and more and more until I get more bits. The more the bits is, the more the complex of the encryption will be. Okay, so here we have about 256 bits, and with this encryption, so here we'll create a key. Okay, this key we will save it also to our D partition, but I prefer it to be on a flash, and also this folder and the folder of database should be always backed up. Okay, and we will see how we can use this key and the database on another location, or we will use it on our laptop, for example. This is our work PC. We will see how we can use it in our laptop, in our home, for example. Here the first thing we need to do to give the database a name, so we will give it a name. We name it, for example, Karim Passwords. Okay, and here it will give you something called default user name for entries. So here it is like a default template for any user that you will create in this database. Okay, so when you create the database, you can import all of your passwords in it, or you can create entries in this database and provide the password of your websites manually. We will see how we can do this. So this is the first thing. Any user will be created, will use the template user@mail.com. so this is the template. Okay, you need to provide the username and then at the mailprovider.com. okay, so this is it. We need to first provide the database password, and then here we can see that there are the database encryption algorithm. You can leave it as AES, and there is some recommendations to use the SHA-SHO. There is another key used by Google. Anyway, so this is used, and it uses FIPS, Federal Information Password Security. This is used by the Department of Defense or the government of the United States. So this is a very strong key. Okay, so we will use it, or we leave it for the default, and then there is something called iterations. The more iteration, the harder are dictionary and guessing attacks, but also database loading saves take more time. So he means that it's something called iterations. Let's see what is iterations. Give it more iterations mean repetition of a process or utterance. Iteration. So he is saying that encryption iteration means. So let's see here. What is the use of key iterations? Can be used with only symmetric. What is iteration? Yes, this is it. Just a moment. What is iteration in encryption? The iteration count is the amount of times we perform this function to drive the final encryption key. So this is something like a process that we use to generate an encryption key. He is saying that the more this, I don't know, this is in milliseconds or something, the more this value is, the more the encryption key will be harder, but this will load the database, or to load the database it will take some time. So we will leave everything for the default, and we can tell him to test this iteration, and he put an automatic value that will be suitable for our encryption. And actually he will see this is also suitable for your processor, so he will use the processor to create encryption keys. Okay, and you need to see how much time the processor can encrypt and decrypt the keys, the speed. So here we tell him test, and we will leave the default value after testing. Okay, we leave it as it is. Okay, so tell him test. Okay, it is, we leave everything as it is, and then This is the, if you can go further, so we will test the iterations, okay. And then we need to see the compression, so we'll go to the compression. This is the compression. You can go further. So if you go to the compression, so here we use something called gzip. It is moderate. This is a compression. Data compression reduces the size of database, so he can compress the database. He will use it, use a kind of compression called gzip, okay. Anyway, so this is another thing. This is the default, and then there is an option called recycle bin, okay. So for example, if in this database you create an entry, okay, for example, if in this database, for example, I create an entry for my Facebook username and password, and then I need, or then I deleted it by mistake, it will not be removed from database. It will go to a recycle bin, okay. So this is a good option, because if I deleted the password by mistake, it will be in the recycle bin. And do not get worried, because this recycle bin is encrypted. It is within the database, so no one can access your recycle bin unless he open your database password and see the recycle bin, okay. So this is a good thing to enable, okay. So we'll enable recycle bin, and then we need to do, or to open two options to changing master password. So we need to change the master password after certain amount of days, okay, for example 182 days, and we need to force changing the master password. So I can give you a time to change the password. For example, we have 182 days. This is the time that the password will expire in, and then after 365 days you are forced to change it, okay. So you are recommended changing the password after 182 days, and will be left to change the password, or you to take a decision to change the password when you reach 365 days, okay. So we need to choose these two options to force the changing of our master key database password. So this will increase the security of our database. Here we can see there is something, just I need to give you something like here. So here we need to see something else, something called print. This is what it will do. It will give you a paper or a sheet that will contain the location of the database, the location of the key, or the location of the key or the master password. So there is a lot of things. First, this PDF or this sheet will contain the Keepass database location and the Keepass encryption key location and the master password. All of these are written in a sheet, and this sheet should be saved and put in a safe location, for example in a safe, so you can use it in emergency situations when you do not remember the password, or you do not there is something with the password, you do not remember it, or you type it incorrectly. So this is a sheet, you need to put it, but this should be put in a very safe location. Here's some also print a key file backup. Anyway, so we will see this sheet or this emergency sheet. We tell him print, and we will see what this password or what this sheet look like. So let's see here. We tell him to print to PDF, so I'll print it as a PDF and then I will save it to my D partition. We should back up this sheet or put it in a safe location. So tell him Keepass emergency, okay, password sheet, and then save. Now we can create entries here to for example put our website password. So we can tell him a new entry, but first of all we need to see this password sheet. Let's see what does it contains. So we'll open the Adobe Reader, okay, and then we will open it, and then let's see what does it contain. So here, let's see here, it will contain the database file. So this is database file location, okay, and you should create a regular backup, okay, and this is the location of the backup, or the backups are stored in a certain location. So this is the database location, and the backup of this database location you should provide it here. And the master password, you can type it here, you can type the master password here, and this is the location of the encryption key. So this is a sheet that contain all of the necessary information that you can use it in the emergency situations to provide you access to your database password. Okay, so this is a very good thing. We need to type it, and you should store it in a safe location. Okay, in a safe, for example. So now we can create entries. So for example, let's see, for example, I need to create an entry. Right click and entry for my email. So here I will type, or I will put my email password, Kareem Gmail password. Okay, and then I can type my email address, and then I can provide the password here, my current password. But here I will create a complex password and update my Gmail password with it. So here let's see, open password generator. Here we can see that this is a password generator program. So I will use this password generator program to create a strong password that I will use it as my Gmail password. Okay, so here there is some options you can use in the password: uppercase and lowercase characters. Uppercase and lowercase, you can use digits, you can use space, you can use special characters like $, and so on. So you can use minus, you can use underline or underscore. So all of these are options to create your complex password, and you can create 20 characters or more, and the more it is, the more it will be secure. So let's see, we will create a password profile. So for example, I tell the password generator I need to have all of my passwords created to have all of these options, okay, and to be 30 characters, and then I will save it to an option or save it to a profile. I will use it later to create passwords to a lot of websites. So let's see how we can create a password, or we'll use the different options. Tell him special character. We can, for example, tell him each character, for example, this is an option, each character must occur at most once. So if we have 20 characters, the characters should not be repeated. Okay, so this is another thing. And exclude look-like characters. For example, if you have 1 and I, they are the same shape, this should be excluded. Okay, so sometimes the 1 seems to be more likely like I, they have the same shape, or 0 looks like O, so he will exclude these characters. Okay, and let's see after that, after doing the setting, we have a preview of the passwords, how they will look like. Here we can see that we have a lot of passwords generated with the character or with the criteria that we have chosen. Okay, so this is a password. I will use it to be my Gmail password. Okay, but take care that after creating this entry, I need to copy the new password and go to my Gmail account on the internet and change it. Okay, this is only an entry, so you need to create a password here and then go to your Gmail account and update your current password with the new one that you have created here. Okay, so let's see how we can create the password. So now we will save it, or tell him to save this setting to 20 character. Okay, password profile, and tell him okay. And then the next time when we open here, for example, here you have the password, so you can put the password or tell him password generate. So here I will choose my profile, 20 character password profile. So here it will create a password, and then it will give you the quality of this password. So here we can see it is good because it is at the green status, so it is already good. So I tell him 20 character password. Okay, this is 20 character password, so it's 124 bits. Okay, so now let's show you the password. Here is the password, and you will repeat it, and then we will type the URL, or we will type the website for our Gmail account. Okay, so we can use the program to provide the password through this website. So let's see this. So here we can also give it an expire date. So if you need to change the password, you can tell the software to remember the time that this password expires. Anyway, your email account password will not expire. Okay, it is always there, but the software will put you a reminder or give you a reminder to change the password after a certain time. So you can tell him it will expire at a certain time. And remember, after changing or doing this password, you need to change it in your Gmail account. Okay, so let's do this. We need to provide the password and repeat it, and then we will see how we can use this software to type in the password, okay, in our website. Okay, so I will show you all how we can do this. So anyway, we will type the password, okay, and now if you tell him okay, this is how we create a password, but we will play with some options in it. So let's first see, or I will show you all some options also we can use. Just a moment guys, we can use, just a moment. So here is advanced and properties and auto type and history. We will see these different options one by one. So now we have created the password, we set an expire date, we need to put the URL or the website that this password will be typed in. So here I am, for example, tell him that this password will expire in May, for example, or August or whatsoever. Okay, so this is it, and then we need to go to advanced. Here to advanced, here you can add attachments. So here for the password, here you can, for example, add a file, maybe a photo, maybe a text file. So you can put this attachment, and this attachment will be encrypted as well. Okay, and you can add another fields. So for example, here in general we have the username and password only. You can add, for example, a mobile field, you can add an email field, a mobile field, a country, a zip code, for example. So you can add different fields, not only the default fields. Okay, anyway, so this is for advanced. As for properties, here you can play with the colors of the properties. Here to play with the colors of the program. And then auto type, this is the most important one. If you go to auto type, this is the most important tab in it. So let's show you all what is the auto type. Okay, so here auto type, this program will type the password automatically. So using this option, the Keepass will type your password automatically in the browser. Okay, so here enable auto type for this entry. So this password will be auto typed through this program automatically in the browser. Okay, so you will see that in a moment. Okay, so inherit default AutoType sequence. So here there is some sequence that this password will be typed. For example, if you open your Gmail account, you need first to type the username and then press enter, and then put the password and then press enter. So this is a kind of AutoType sequence, or this is a kind of sequence in typing. So you need to tell him the default AutoType sequence. So he need to put the username first and then press enter, or put the username and then password and then enter. You need to tell him the sequence of typing the password. By default, most of the websites, you need to type the username and then press tab and then the password and then enter. So this is the default auto filling sequence. If there is any differences or there is different type of auto typing, you need to provide it for the program. Okay, and we will see that we can customize it as we need. And then we will put something called two-channel auto typing obfuscation. I will show you all what this option will mean, but wait for a moment. Anyway, so we'll leave everything for default. We'll leave the default options, but we need to choose this option right now. I will show you all why we need it, and we will make a test. He's saying that it will not work with all of the Windows versions, but anyway, we will use it. And then this is the history of this password. When you change it, the last time you changed it, this is like a log for changing this entry. Okay, so we will open a text file. This text file, or this text file, will resemble the browser, okay, or will resemble a website, and we will see how we can type the password. Okay, so let's see here. For example, we can override the default auto type sequence. So if we tell him edit, for example, we can choose not only username, then tab, then password, then enter. Okay, this is, we can change this default sequence to another thing. Okay, so let's, for example, see something here. Here we can see that there is a lot of AutoType sequence. For example, in Google you need to type the username and then wait for 100 seconds or 1000 seconds or milliseconds, and then the field of password will appear, and then you need to type it and then to press enter. Anyway, we will leave this as default. Okay, we will leave this as default, we will not change it, but this is the AutoType sequence. Okay, so for example, let me show you all something here. If we go to the Gmail, so let's go to, for example, gmail.com, or let's go to Facebook. Okay, here I have already accessed my Gmail, so let's go to Outlook, for example, .com. So here you tell him to sign in. So let's make a simulation. If we tell him to sign in, here what will happen? Here we need to provide the password. Okay, or here the field of the username and password will appear. So the program, so for example, if we go like example sign out here, let's get here sign out. Okay, so here if we tell him, for example, we need to sign in again, let me tell him we need to sign in. So here the program, what it will do, it will type the username, and then you need to press enter, and then you need to type the password and then press enter. This is the AutoType, or this is the typing sequence. Okay, so this is, so you need to type the username and then wait for 100 seconds and then type the password and then press enter. So this is the auto sequence for typing the password. Just wait for a moment, guys. Let's continue, guys. So now we will try to simulate that we will type my username or my email username and my email password and see how this program will do this. So we need to do this automatically. So the software should type my username and my password automatically and let me log in smoothly. So let's see. Remember that we will activate something called two-channel AutoType obfuscation. What is this? Take a close look. What we will do first, we will open a text file and we will simulate that this text file, it is our email or my Gmail website, and we'll try to see how the AutoType or how my username and password will be typed. But remember this AutoType obfuscation or two-channel option. Let's see how this will be done. So okay, this is the history when I have changed my password or when I have done any changes to my entry. So here we can see that this is it. Here we can see that we can make it in groups. So you can groups, for example, for email, for internet, for network, for Windows, you can do for home banking, you can do for work, and this is all of it. This is the title, the username and password. It is not appearing, expiry date, creation time, last modification. So let's try to simulate how the software will put my password. So we'll open a text file and try to simulate this as my website or as my Gmail website, so or my email Gmail. Okay, so let's wait and see. Let me do further here. So here we'll create a text file. Okay, you can do that like this. So here we will create a text file. Okay, double click on it and then take a close look. We need to have the software opened. Okay, so we will double click on it and then this is my website, and then we will right click on this entry and tell him to autofill in the text file. Okay, and this text file resembles now my browser. Okay, so let's wait and see. So this is my browser. I will go to my password manager, okay, which is Keepass, Okay, take a closer look what will happen. Now I need to go there and tell him right click. Here we have a lot of options. We can copy username and type it in my website, which is a text file in this case. Password, we can copy the password. Okay, so we can copy the username and paste it, and password and paste it, and then we can tell him auto type. So let's see what we will do when we add this option, tell him auto type. Let's see this one. So what we will do here, we can see for a moment. Let's wait for a moment. Here is my, remember you can see here something very different, that my username, it is typed not in order. So we saw for example that he typed Kareem and then he typed gmail.com and then he typed Raouf. He didn't type it in order, he typed it in misorder. Okay, and the same for the password. Why is this? This is the 2-channel option. What he will do, if he will type your username and password not in order, the letters not in order, okay, so but at the end they are the same. So for example he typed Kareem first and then he typed it at gmail.com and then he put the dot then Raouf. Okay, and the same is for the password. This is the 2-channel obfuscation. Why is this option? Because if you have a keylogger, this is a malware that we will monitor your keystrokes or your keyboard strokes to know your passwords and usernames. So this is an option to make it difficult for the keyloggers to identify your username and passwords, okay, through monitoring the keystrokes on your keyboard. Okay, so this is the 2-channel obfuscation. So this is an option okay, to type the username and password automatically. Okay, so this is it, and it will be typed username, then we will type it enter, and then password, and then enter, or username then tab, then after that password. Okay, so we will again type. Okay, but this you need to have it open, you need to have an active window. This should not be minimized. Okay, so it should be opened like this, and then we will go to the software. So this should be opened, okay, not minimized, and tell him to perform an auto entry. See here, it is not typed in order. Okay, it's not typed in order. Okay, this is the 2-channel obfuscation, just to trick the keyloggers or the key loggers malware not to get your password or not to know your password. Okay, so this is one of the good options we need to activate in the Keepass. Okay, and now we need to see if we can open the password or database. You can close the software and open it again to see, and we need to see if we can export these passwords to a text file, or this database to be exported to Excel sheet or to HTML. Anyway, there is some database maintenance and some tools to maintain the password database. Anyway, so we will see these options one by one, or we will see, or we will try to discover the options of Keepass one by one. Okay, anyway, we'll go to the options and need to activate a certain option. Okay, here these are a lot of options you can choose. One of them is integration with browsers, so you can type the password automatically to the browser through the software, because there is an integration between the software and the Keepass. Anyway, so we need to activate a certain option called AutoType window. So AutoType window can appear for us. Let me show you all what we mean by AutoType window. So we need to go further down, but not this one. We need to activate an option called AutoType window. Okay, let me show you all how we can do this. And now here it is. This is the something called global AutoType. You type Control Alt A. This will get you the AutoType window. I will show you all when we do this, but remember, we will type Control plus Alt plus A. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Here we have a shortcut that we can get the AutoType window or panel. Through it we can see what we can AutoType. So let's see how we can get this get this window and what does it contain. So let's see this one, how we can do it. And then we will just activate a certain option. This is just moments. We will always show global auto entry option selection dialog. This we will see what is this dialog. This is global auto type entry selection dialog. We will see this option. Okay, when we type Control Alt plus A, here this is the auto type entry selection. So here you can choose the selection you need to type. Just a moment. So let's continue, guys. Here we will have the auto type entry selection, so you can choose what password you need to auto fill from this window. We get it by Control plus Alt plus A. Okay, so let's continue discovering the options for this software. So here we'll auto type again. Here see that it is typed also in not in order, but this is the 2-channel obfuscation, and then plus Control Alt A, you should have this entry here appearing by the title, username, URL, so it should appear here. Anyway, so let's discover the different options. There is a lot of options actually in this software. We will discover it now. Let's have a look. So we'll cancel this one, and then I think from tools here you can make here there is something called duplicate password. When you type this option, it will see if you have duplicate passwords in your database. If there is a username that has duplicate password, or you have 2 usernames that have the same password, it will give you the duplicate password. So this is a way to search for duplicate password, and he's saying there is no duplicate password. And there is another option called similar passwords. Okay, if we get this one, similar passwords, it will show you what passwords have similar characters. So for example, these 3 or 4 passwords have some characters in common. Okay, so the password for my Gmail and the password for other entries or other websites, the passwords have some characters similar. Okay, so he will get similar password, similarity 5%. So this is also a good option. This lets show entries that are using similar but not identical passwords. For finding entries that are using the same password, use the duplicate password. So this is 2 good options to see duplicate passwords and to see similar passwords. Okay, there is another option that called password quality. It will just see your passwords and give them something like a rating about if the password is good or not. So let's see here, password quality. He will give you the password quality. He will search all your passwords and give them rating, which password is strong, which password is weak. So here is searching all your database for all of the passwords, and it will give you something like the quality. Here we say that it is red 6-bit and 14-bit. This password is low quality, and this one is high quality. So the green is good password and the red is wrong password, or it is not a good password. Okay, so these options will let you search the database for passwords and evaluate the password's quality. or the password strongness. Okay, so this is the triggers. I think this is if you want to automate something through the software, but I didn't use it actually, so maybe you would not need to use this kind of option. Anyway, here I'm trying to discover what I can do with this triggers. It can initialize the application, open the database file, synchronize the database in different locations, close the database. All of these are options or actions you can do using the trigger. Anyway, I didn't use it, or we maybe you don't need it, but you can automate the closing of the database, some entries in the database. Anyway, so we will cancel, and then we can now export. So let's see if we can export the database. So we can tell him to export our passwords. Here he will export it as an HTML file or as a CSV file, so you can get it as CSV file or text file or a customizable HTML file, so you can export all of the database to an Excel sheet or to an HTML. We will see how this HTML will appear. Anyway, take care that this file is not encrypted. Okay, the CSV or the HTML, it will not be encrypted. So let's see how we can export the passwords, and the opposite, we can import. Okay, import CSV files or HTML file. I think you can import CSV files. Anyway, so we'll export this file outside and see the password. So we'll export it on the desktop. Okay, and then let's see the HTML file and how it will appear. So there is a lot of options in this database, and let's see. So here we can see this is database. Okay, and the email entry, so this is a good one. Okay, so this is the preview. Okay, if you tell him export, this is the final view. Okay, so this is a preview. Okay, if we open the HTML file, we can see that this is how it will appear. Anyway, so we can import as well from a CSV file. So we can import. You can import a file. So this is good. You can create entries here. For example, make one for work. For example, check for updates if you need to check for updates. So your Keepass is up to date. So this is, I think, most of the options. Plugins, if you need to add a plugin or extension to do more things with the software, for example, to integrate the software with the browsers. Okay, so these are the extensions. Okay, the most extensions here. So let's wait for a moment. Okay, anyway, so let's continue. I think so. Let's see if we try to close the database. Okay, just a moment. So here we'll see if we can create an entry. Okay, this is most of the options, but I need to create an entry. So here I need to make, for example, a new entry here. So you can tell him database and new group. Tell him work, for example, work. Okay, other passwords or work passwords. Okay, and actually I do not prefer to add extensions to the browser or extensions to the program, because extensions are third party programs. Maybe it's not secure, so I prefer to use the program as is. Okay, don't add any extensions. Okay, unless it is necessary and unless it is useful and unless it is secure. Anyway, so here we can add, or we can move this password from email to work password. So we can copy it from here to there, or take it from here to there. And actually we will see later that adding extensions, I will show you, but not in this video. I will show you later that we can add extensions or plugins and use it with the software, but not in this video. So I think we have already discussed most of the software entries, so we'll add an entry. So the same, I think we don't need all of this. So here what we will do, just wait for a moment. So here I will close the database and see. Let me show you all when we close the database what we will see here. First of all, you need to take care that when this asterisk is there, that means that the database is not saved. So you need to save what you have done before closing the window, because asterisk means that all what have you done is not saved. When you save, this asterisk will disappear. Anyway, so we need to save, and then we will try to open the database. Let's see when we try to open the database what will happen. He will ask, here we'll tell him to save the changes, okay, and then let's try to open the database again. Okay, copy, this is the password, copy, and then let's try to open the software. He will ask us for, we'll try to open it. So here he will ask for the master password and for the key for the database. So you need to provide both so he can open the database. Okay, so now we have provided the master password and the location of the key. Okay, and then let's see if he will open the database or not. So here we can see the database was opened because we have provided the master password and we have provided the key that we have already stored. Okay, so I think, let's see here. So we will continue working in the upcoming video. We will continue working on Keepass XC. This is another version of this software, or another flavor of the Keepass, okay, software. It contains also a lot of options and it is more polished. So hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.